Hi friends, welcome back. Let's take a look at Tezos, and I'm just smiling because I'm looking at this mess that's on the chart, which like goes right around all the different stuff that's on here from the past. So Tezos. You've not stayed above the 2,776 area where the 236 is on this Fibonacci retracement that we asked you to do. Okay, you haven't done that, but you have come up here to it and managed to actually kind of close above it and then open above it and close below it. But you've done something. It has been it's a lower high overall, and you've got question marks going on about what you're really doing here, because you can see in the background of this, what is this? It's kind of like a coffee bean with, or it's like a face of some sort, maybe like a clam to the left. I don't know. If you came in this downward trend area, let's see, is this got hidden bearish divergence involved in it or not? Let's see between these two lows if there's bullish divergence. Let's see if the 2,770 area is too far away for us to try and go up to as part of an overall movement, and whether or not this could just be the start of an upward trend. And let's see if this is just continuation from within the trend as part of the natural up and down flux of the free market. Starting off, I suppose, by looking at the volume and saying that the volume was diminishing throughout this entire trend towards the downside, and that there is, let's take it from around about here to kind of make the point, and there is the sort of the chance then that since we've come in down towards these like lows over here, and then we had this increase in volume, that perhaps was starting volume or stopping volume, stopping volume here, and maybe we're coming towards an increase in the volume. So there we go. There's something. That's the first thing that we can talk about, I suppose, in that sense. Down the way here, we have this falling wedge type idea that we broke out of and actually went a bit higher than. So this is what we spoke about yesterday, or was it in the live stream we spoke about it, or was it in the day before? Who knows? Who knows? This here is coming in as being hidden bearish divergence rate. But if we were to then find ourselves supported by the moving average, the edge of the bearish control zone, and of course the a retest of this downward sloping trend line on the RSI, then perhaps we could actually be looking at this coming in here and simply turning around at this point here and challenging and going towards the top side. And then you'd be looking at this and saying, what is it? Well, it's a rejection of the neutral line, so to speak, or a rejection of the sort of the overall more positive area on its first pass. And that's okay to see. We've got a rejection here on its first pass, actually, and a kind of a retest then on its second pass, you could say, as part of the structure here, really. And that's to be expected given the way that there was this trend and all. So isn't that all possibly jolly good? What about between these two lows? Is there any of the old bullishy divergency? Now, if I just bring this up big, you can see that this peaked or troughed down here and then here on the 3rd of July. And then there's another one on the 5th of July. And if we look down at the way the price action came in, well, it did actually seem to be kind of bullishly divergent when you look at the way that this kind of actually was setting in its lows here, in terms of the wick and everything else. Just like this is when it went up towards the top side. But if you're to be really, really strict on it and say this was the low because that's where the body closed at, then you would see that as being not divergent. So then let's go on down to the 4-hour time frame and kind of check in with that same sort of a zone then in the past, so that we can have a bit more of a clearer view of the potential for divergence. And yes, you can see it was actually bullishly divergent here, and that's okay. And we've come up, and what we've done really overall is we've come up towards where we had previous inflection in the market in this whole sideways area between the 11th of June right up towards the 24th of June, during that sort of fortnight there where we just jumped between, what is this here, the 382 and the 236 on this Fibonacci retracement, and before dropping on down the way here. So if we were to go back above the 236, then you could be quite positive about this in terms of the overall structure of things. This is quite high, so it is possible to come up here and put in another bearishly divergent high if we do not go into the overbought territory. So there's one of those counterintuitive things that you often see in the world. People are like, "Hey, I've got a stupid head on me, and I'm some sort of moron," and I would like to talk about how when this goes up to the overbought territory, then what you do is you sell, and then you wait for it to come down to the oversold territory, then you buy, then you go up towards the overbought territory, then you sell, then you go down to over, and really, that's kind of quite reductionist, isn't it? If you think about it, you see that we got right up towards the edge of where I've drawn in this sort of this bearish control zone at, and looking at it on this chart here, I would call it 80s being oversold. By the way, I think that's pretty much out of the box settings on this one. But if we look then at where we could come up to if we actually make it into the overbought territory here, then maybe we'd have a chance of actually changing things around ever so slightly in terms of the bigger picture again. Because going back up towards the bigger picture, while you could then go and be over bought on the 20 on the Jazztastic 4 hour time frame. Maybe over here in the 24-hour time frame, you'd be doing a couple of things all at once. But for instance, closing and opening and closing above the 236, having been rejected from it on our first pass here, so to speak, and then going towards the top side thereafter, you could actually then be looking up towards actually the 2,900 area or so, and getting past this particular inflection point in the market where we know that there's going to be a lot of the old buying and selling in and around these areas, and we can look up towards then the next area after that, the 50% and the 618, and maybe actually turn this trend around. A message just came in on the Discord. I'm tempted to go check it, so I can give somebody a shout out. Yeah, sure, I'll give somebody a shout out just on the channel. My screen's changed to the Discord. I know it's still showing that. Who said something? Pete Moss. I'll give a shout out to Pete Moss, because maybe you don't need to use the money for other intermediate knife leads, that has our violation, blah blah blah. Shout out to Pete Moss for having put a comment in there a couple of minutes ago on the staking platform. Right, great. Somebody asked, as this is about Tezos as well, so we're looking at Tezos right now. Bran said in the staking thing, can somebody please give me a reason as to why I shouldn't sell my Tezos? Asking for a friend, winky face. And Pete Moss says, because maybe you don't need to use the money for any other immediate life needs, and it has a higher valuation ahead of it, because your patience is greater than your fear, ? Well, that's good little discussion on the go there talking about Tezos staking in the Discord, so I invite you to come and join us. Let's go and look at the dollar pairing. Everything that I was speaking about there, by the way, in terms of the trends, in terms of moving around here, in terms of the going past certain targets like the Fibonacci retracements and whatnot, all apply here on the dollar pricing as well. In fact, everything, I think, really in terms of divergence and everything else, really, and if you were to draw a pattern around this here, you'd get a slight break out of it, you get the sort of the rejection here of the neutral line, the retest, all that stuff, everything applies the same way, and the chat as well about how you want to be overbought just to be able to actually do something different and change the trend around, rather than actually looking at that from a negative point of view. Things that we can bear in mind still, like we spoke about in yesterday's video, I think in the live stream, that the volume is higher than it has been on average, looking back the way, and that's good to see. Bring up the prices a bit more so you can actually view them, perhaps, maybe, Rocky. Zoom in a wee bit here, and you can see that on the in terms of the Fibonacci retracement here, which is because I drew some extra ones in yesterday. Where is this? This is coming in. Where did I draw that from? I'm just going to delete that because I'm not sure what exactly I used in terms of the highs and lows. I think here and here, but I couldn't really quite make it out, so I'm just going to do that again. So from the most recent lows to the most recent highs, the 236 on this one to invalidate it is there at 258. So you want to see the prices going up to that 260s again, which is where the 382 is here on this one. We're currently above the 236 at 243. That's good to see. This is an okay retracement in general. I'm going to have to put another penny in the swearing jar for that. I'm trying to get over. I've been saying that word too much, so I'm trying not to. Don't know what's going on. I've got a personal hang up about it. So then that's what we're looking to. Can we actually manage to go up above this 236 area, which is above the 382 over here on the left, in terms of the dynamics of this thing working, and move towards the top side there, having found support here at the 236, maintaining a valid Fibonacci retracement, drawing in from the highs over here on this 1st of June, 2nd of June time down to where we find the prices having come in at on the 5th of July. And if we do that, then we could be looking towards moving outside of this downward sort of sloping channel area that we have at the minute. So that's where the key areas would be. I suppose on the way up there, that 258 really does mean something because of, depending on when we get there, 260s area and our previous highs at 265. But we really do want to see it moving up above the 268, 270 area so that we can come in and try and get to where the golden pocket would be and hopefully put in a higher high here compared to this high, get a golden pocket retrace, then we could come back down a wee bit afterwards, maybe even retest this downward sloping line. Having done that, with maybe even doing that how we're talking about with the oversold nature on the RSI, as everything kind of building up to a better, more healthy picture towards the top side, rather than the reductionist sort of like bing bong, this is how we're going to do the trading type of thing. And that, I think, is a fairly neat note to leave off on. If you enjoyed the episode and found some value in it, then please hit that subscribe button. Share the video with a friend, join the Discord, invite your friends to the Discord, all that good stuff, and grow the community. I really do appreciate it. The Tezos community is a great community. So bring your good-spirited natures over to the Discord and the comment section down below. Let me know how you're getting on. If you trade, if you invest, if you're like Pete Moss and you're just looking to sort of stake it based on not needing the money in the immediacy, or if you're like Bran and you think to yourself, like, and the real question then is, if you had have sold it up there at the recent highs when we're looking at this and saying that it could have been, and then rebought here, you're looking at a drop down in 10%. So you can get your whole value of your entire year's staking perhaps by having done a couple of swing trades. If you feel like you've locked that in, then you could maybe then just leave that afterwards and think, well, hey, look, I've got 2 years staking value out of one. I'm going to leave it no matter what way the price goes or whatever. Again, though, I'm not a financial advisor and none of this is financial advice. You always have to make your own decisions about things. And that's a good answer for Bran as well. So, great episode, yay. Thanks for tuning in, and I'm going to go and enjoy the weekend. Thank you so much. I hope you have a great time over the weekend yourselves, and thanks for being a part of the channel. Clap, 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 clap. Catch you next time. Thanks so much for tuning in. I've been Rocky Outcrop.